that it's fairly easy. So now let's take a look at the actual feature that we have. And let me get rid of this one. Okay? So let's start out, and let me erase this. Let's start out by looking at all the sedimentary features. Okay? And in this case, it's a little bit more complex. We have A and B are igneous intrusions. There's one fault. There are two unconformities. And again, all other features are sedimentary beds. So which sedimentary bed is the youngest here? And I think you recognize that which one is the oldest? And the one on the bottom is the oldest. So we would have I, then J, then K, then L. And if you look carefully, you see there's an M right there. Then P, then O, then N, then H, F, and G. Oops, H, G, F, sorry. G, and then F. Okay? And again, you've done 80% of this. You're almost done. Okay? Next thing to do, look at the unconformities. Let's look at E. Notice that E has eroded through N and everything else. So E is younger than N. So we can put E here. And H was deposited on top of E. So H is younger. So we know that E fits right in there. Here we have P, that's D. D eroded through M. Okay, it's offset again, but it eroded through M, so it's younger than M. And P was deposited on top of it, so P is younger than D, so D fits right in there. Okay? What's our next step? Well, we can take either the igneous intrusions or the faults. Since we looked at the igneous intrusions last, let's look at that beforehand. And we've got two igneous intrusions, B right here and A. If we look at A working its way up towards the surface. It cuts everything, including N, but it's cut off by E. So A used to go up there, but E eroded through it. Okay? So that means that A has to be younger than all these, but older than that. And so here's E. A is younger than N because it intruded it, and older than E. So A would go here. Now what about B? B cut through all these sedimentary features up to D. But it's cut by D. So B has to be younger than M, but older than D. So B goes right there. Okay? And the last thing we've got is a fault. How old is the fault? Well, the fault, look, it cuts through B, it cuts through P and O and N. It's limited by E, so it's got to be younger than N, but older than E. What about its relationship to A? Well, does C cut through A or does A cut through C? And I hope you can see, so to speak, that A cuts through C, so A is younger than C. C is younger than N. So C goes there. And so again, we can now, since we got all these features, we can now put them into proper order. F, G, H, E, A, C, N, O, P, D, B, M, then L, K, J, and I. Okay? And I hope that allows you to understand how to do these. You've seen a couple of these. Try doing some of those other practice cross sections, and I think you'll find that they're not as confusing as they initially look. But it's important to be methodical about this. Do the sedimentary layers first, then the unconformities, and only after you've done them, do the intrusions and the falls. What I've done, if you've looked at your geologic time exercise yet, if you have some of these, for instance, suppose you put these up here like that, Canvas will mark it wrong, but because you got them in proper relative order, I will give you credit for sets, at least 2 at a time, that are shifted either up or down. Okay? And then the last few questions ask you about the principles of relative dating that tell you things. So what principle of relative dating tells you the relative age of G and H? If we go to G and H, G is here, H is here. G is deposited on top of H, so superposition is what tells you that relationship. C and E. C is here, E cuts it off. It doesn't allow C to go up farther, so that's the principle of cross-cutting relationships. And I will give you a big hint. All of the answer to these questions and the 1 or 2 below it are either superposition or cross-cutting relationships. Okay? And that finishes this off. Please take a look at this. We spent more web pages and more time on this than any other topic that's going to be on the next exam, and so you really want to make sure that you do understand this material thoroughly. And again, as always, if you have questions, come and ask me on Zoom. Okay, bye-bye.